We are live on May 11, 2024. I hope you're all doing fabulously well, okay, not so bad. Okay, let me just say hello to GeoFactor 3, James B., Sandra Pilar Gill. Good evening, dear Carol, amen. Okay, Sandra. D. Moore, hello, B. Dub. What? A drone flying over Tucson at over 100 miles per hour and sending the police helicopters in a wild goose chase. No, I didn't hear about that. Wow. Michael Mossberg, hello. Dude, WTF, hey. Kim Blanchard, hello. Taylor Noose, hello. Donna Davidson, hi. Nice to see you, Space Indian, Justin Wynn, and Super Painting 62 and T. Lamb. Shout out to T. Lamb. Thank you very, very much for being blue tonight. Oracle 11, hi. Greg Pie, or Phi, hi, and okay too. Hi. I think we know about the indoctrinated brain. Aren't you guys getting bored? I feel like I'm just getting bored. And, it's the same old, maybe some, different details, different day. But man, it's just the same old. I don't like same old. I don't like repeats. And I repeat an awful lot. So, am I happy with these lives? No. Man, do I wish... a lot of people have said, oh, take a break, and you need a break, and all of this stuff is getting to you. I'm hardwired for this kind of stuff. I grew up in a family of just pure chaos and violence and alcoholism and malignant narcissism and abuse and yada, yada, yada. I am so hardwired for this. But I realized what gets me down is the lack of response to it. Like an appropriate response to all of the madness, the chaos, the violence, and certainly an awful lot suffering the consequences. Yeah. It is. It just gets boring. Every single day seems the same. Yeah. Groundhog Day for real. Day repeats itself. You've been following me for 8 years. I don't want anyone to follow me. I don't know. But you've been a loyal subscriber for 8 years. Thank you very, very much. Much appreciated. So, we're going to start with the weather, as we do. Radar. Current radar got the supercells igniting, but then extinguished very quickly here in central Texas. It's kind of quiet, huh? Well, you got these supercells igniting here in New Mexico. And they do seem to be in a line. Put in those coordinates and they just manifest. But it's going to be quiet for maybe 2 days. This is a forecast model. And it starts at midnight tonight. Midnight Sunday, May 12. All right, precipitation. Doesn't look bad. Precipitation doesn't look bad, though you got some snow here in Colorado. And again, we're now noon on May 12th. But here we've got some more precipitation, and that is in kind of central east Texas. But there we go. Supercells. and that's at midnight Monday. So really a day and a half. Severe weather coming to East Texas into Louisiana, and then in Louisiana again. And now we're at 6 o'clock in the morning, May 13, Monday. But by Tuesday, here we've got, and that is Mississippi and Alabama. You've got pretty heavy rainfall for Monday at 6 p.m. The supercells ignite midnight Tuesday, and that's in East Texas. Not like you haven't been hammered enough, so you need to be hammered more. East Texas into Louisiana, and then by 6 a.m. you still have the rains here in East Texas, into Louisiana, into Mississippi, and boom, bada bing, noontime Tuesday, severe weather 4. You got, it's heading out of Louisiana into Mississippi, into Alabama, and into Georgia, and another pattern that we have seen just a couple of days ago, and here's this pattern going into the Panhandle, Florida. Be very, very careful. This is Tuesday, 6 p.m. And that's also, you got South Georgia, you got South Alabama, still in the Panhandle by midnight Wednesday. And then goes offshore, and they're bringing them back by Thursday at 6 a.m. There you go. All right, so that's enough of the forecast, enough days. And yeah, people are really suffering the consequences of weather warfare. This is the skies in the UK. Dave Holly posted it on his channel. I'll put his link in. And the skies are not doing very well in the UK. Very little sunshine that they experience.
May the 10th, 2024. We got yet another scar criminal.
Looks like
Topping up the
anywhere in
filth.
the US. Horrible. Toxic. People getting sick. People
Captain
not feeling well.
Splutterhouse. Look at him. Mega dumping. You've all got to breathe this in, people. Look at that. Wow. Captain Splutterhouse, alright. Lost him. Been in the smog of previous dumps. Let me just back out a little, regroup. But he's still dumping.
Look how disgusting that looks. And all of the frequencies visible to the naked eye. Yeah. You got the lithium dump, and you got the black carbon dust, and the black carbon clouds, and the microwaves. Everything visible to the naked eye, and people are just, well, You're just crazy. You're a conspiracy theorist. Thousands ordered to evacuate Fort Nelson, BC, as wildfire approaches. Starting early for Canada.
Our top story this hour, residents in the community of Fort Nelson, British Columbia are being forced to evacuate due to a fast-moving wildfire. People were told last night to leave immediately. They're being told to go to Fort St. John, which is 380 kilometers away. And a state of emergency has been issued in Grand Prairie County in Alberta due to wildfires. People there being told to evacuate the area. Firefighters and heavy equipment are on the scene in both of those provinces. For more now, we're joined by Rob Fraser. He's the mayor of the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality, and he joins us this morning from Fort Nelson, BC. Thank you so much, Mayor, for taking the time to talk to us. I want to ask you, though, I can see that smoky scene behind you there. Give us a sense of the scene that's playing out there right now and the impact on the evacuation.
Well, the sun is just coming up right now. You see the smoke behind me. The wind has died down, so the smoke has sort of laid in the valley here and is really smoking up the town. The evacuation went fairly well. I haven't got a situational awareness report yet this morning from the RCMP, so I'm not exactly sure how many people are left in the community, but it looked like it was a pretty orderly evacuation, and I think most people are gone.
What's your advice for those who have had to leave their homes, and any indication of how long they could be out for?
Well, my advice is for them to, to stay calm, know that we've got some really professional folks on the fire line working it over and in our emergency operations center.
And I'm sure those Canadians feel at ease knowing that they have all those professionals up there working it. The evacuation, they were literally evacuated over 300 kilometers. That's a long drive. Boy, if my house was in an area where there are wildfires, I'd want to be a little bit closer. Okay, they did say, and I included in the live stream, about a month ago, that the wildfires were going to be starting early, and quite a lot of wildfires in Canada. Like you didn't have enough last year. So I hope everybody's home and this area, Fort Nelson. He did say in another broadcast that the winds were kind of shifting and blowing towards the community. Not good. So we'll keep an eye on this. Mama Rages, shout out to you. Thank you very much. Another blue. I don't call them wrench people. I call them blue people. Silent Walk, hello. Sacramento Linny, hello. Miss Blanche, hello. Michael Griffin and Sabobner and Silent Walk, Barbara, Ohio. Marilyn Mitchell, Lambs Grace. And Bethesda Bodyworks. True Blood, hello. Wow, okay, so we're dealing with a lot. But, hey, U.S. Power Grid and Communication Network survived the extreme geomagnetic storm. You know, I posted a video on this geomagnetic storm, and I was amazed at how many people they're absolute on something is happening with the sun. Now, when man has the technology that they can create this kind of event, how could you be absolute that it's the sun? Oh, because NASA puts up the images of the sun, and might NASA be capable of just creating those images? We don't know what's real and what's not anymore. I will tell you, the weather being modified, being intensified, That is something that we can see on radar with the extremely low frequencies, especially. With the Doppler radar, the high frequencies, absolutely. And the nano technology in use, the little blips on satellite, the little blip clouds that manifest immediately and come together to make those cirrus clouds. So we don't know. But yeah, we survived the geomagnetic storm. And I guess a whole lot of people will also say, well, didn't you see the aurora borealis? Don't you know what is in our atmosphere? And a little bit of electricity with all of the lithium, the aluminum, the barium, the strontium. The list is long that they could actually create this magnificent thing in the sky, and people go, wow, oh my God, it's gorgeous. We don't know what's real. I don't like that. I like life to be real. I like people to be real. I like our experiences to be real. And when we don't know what's real and what's not, we can't come out and definitively say, this is what's going on. The world's largest floating solar farm wrecked by a storm just before launch. Oh boy, you're kidding me. Another solar farm wrecked by a storm. This is getting mighty expensive. Mighty, mighty expensive. Good job, green energy people. Asia embraces coal as the U.S. rejects it. Yes. And how about China? We don't hear much about China. We hear an awful lot about the Americans polluting the world. That's not happening. But if everybody's so concerned about CO2, why isn't anybody mentioning China, who is continuing to build these coal factories and producing an awful lot? In fact, this tweet says a coal-fired power plant in China, the Sichuan province, now emits more CO2 than the entire developed world combined. It's possible. But hey, you'll submit to the climate lockdown, not you guys, but a whole lot will. It's a climate lockdown. We've got to lock down. We have to lock down. All right, I'm going to put the link into Environmental Health Trust, a channel that needs a lot more subscribers. And they post on the dangers of EMF. EMF. Very dangerous. And a whole lot are scientists, experts, very smart people. And here, wildlife and wireless radiation, the environmental impacts of wireless cell tower radiation, doesn't really go into, it's only a minute long, but listen closely to what is being said.
Wireless radiation is a new form of environmental pollution. Radiation levels are rapidly increasing, unchecked, due to the deployment of new cell towers into cities, towns, and even national parks. Hundreds of scientists urge protection, citing evidence of harm to wildlife. A scientific review of 1,200 plus studies reveals widespread impacts, highlighting the urgent need for strong environmental policies. We sued the FCC for their disregard of the science. We won. A 2021 U.S. federal court ruling found the FCC had failed to address the environmental impacts of wireless radiation, yet no action has been taken. This is unacceptable. Immediate safeguards are needed to protect our ecosystems and wildlife.
They win. No assessment of the environmental impacts on this saturation of electromagnetic frequencies, but no action has been taken. Your government wants to protect you. All right, they got 82 views. Not good. Not good. But let's listen to this because I'm going to click off some of these. And I didn't even listen to this. I pulled it up. Major concerns raised over cell phone radiation studies. This was posted 12 days ago.
Welcome back. New research raising some concerns over the number of items that are transmitting radiation in your home. This radiation can do serious damage. So joining us with more is Joe Sandry. He is VP of Regulatory Affairs and General Counsel at the Environmental Health Trust. Thank you so much for being here, Joe. We appreciate it.
Sure, glad to be here.
Okay, so we understand that one of the
Environmental Health Trust.
The major culprits in this radiation, there are cell phones, and we have these on our person all day. Some of us even sleep in close proximity to our phone. So what's the major message about the potential dangers involved here?
One, don't hold the phone to your head. The actual guidelines in your phone say don't do that. Two, don't sleep with it near you. And three, the tests that were revealed that were essentially suppressed for years show, these are FCC tests, government tests, show that the FCC's own guidelines, as old and pathetic as they are, were being exceeded when a phone is 2 millimeters from your head.
Wow.
And
okay. So update us on this this situation. So you were saying this data has not been available. It's being suppressed.
Correct. We received it through what's called a FOIA, a Freedom of Information Act request. And what's troubling is studies had been done years prior, but had not been revealed to the public. And there'd been a series of lawsuits and other cases about these issues, and none of this had been revealed in those series of lawsuits and other cases.
Wow. Okay. So what can you tell us about the dangers? I mean, a lot of us, you know, we hold the phone right to our ear when we were taking a call. What do we need to know about the safety protocol there?
Buried in the phones is a notice to you. You never see it, but if you go into settings and then go into general, and then you go into legal and regulatory, then you go into RF exposure, which is way, way down in your phone, you'll see a notice that says, hey, keep the phone about 5 millimeters or so from your body.
Okay.
One, you don't know that. It's not aware. You don't see it like on a cigarette label. You don't see a huge print telling you that. Two, there's a series of studies that show both biological and thermal damage occurring to you from the phones. These phones are operate in the same bands as your microwave oven. So there's,
This is, it's super concerning. You mentioned don't sleep with your cell phone near you. What is near? Right. I mean, if there's 2 or 3 feet between me and my nightstand, can the phone be on the nightstand, or should we leave it in the kitchen and then come upstairs to sleep?
Ideally, you'd leave it in the kitchen. The guidelines, old and pathetic as they are, say, don't hold it to your head. But there's other studies, many studies that show it's very bad for you, for your sleep habits, both the light and the radiation, and also a lot of endocrinal disruption caused by your sleep itself being disrupted by the artificial light, in addition to the radiation.
This may be a question for a doctor or medical group, but are we seeing negative outcomes in terms of cancer and things like that as a result of radiation from these devices yet?
The National Institutes of Health published a study some years ago. Linda Birnbaum was the head of the NIH unit that did the study, Dr. Linda Birnbaum, and they showed in humanized mice an increase in cancer. There's also a lot of other studies that will show that low intensity chronic exposure can lead to chromosomal damage. There's a German study recently.
Okay, so in just a few seconds, we got to let you go, Joe. But what if someone has to take one thing away from you this morning? What would it be? Parents or just any cell phone user?
Keep it away from your body. Don't let your kids have it near them. And go into your phone store and ask for the safest phone they have, and they'll probably not be able to show you with any competency what is their safest phone. The industry should start competing on safety.
Yeah, really.
Mainstream media has reported on this throughout the years. A whole lot of people have reported the studies, myself included. When they were, before cell phones hit the market and they were testing them, they knew that they were emitting frequencies that could cause cancer. All of those studies that were funded by the industry were literally suppressed. They put them on the market. It's a weapon. It's a weapon. And any of you who are putting that right to your ear, sorry to say, but you really need to think about what you're doing. Keep it away from you, put it on speaker, and here, this man is talking about direct energy weapons. I wish that I could find the full hearing on this, but he does talk about how Americans are being hit with directed energy weapons.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for allowing me to speak. I had a hearing this week in Homeland Security, and this hasn't even become very mainstream yet, but it was about different foreign adversaries using direct energy weapons against U.S. citizens that completely incapacitate citizens of the United States. You guys might have heard of it, called Havana Syndrome. And then we went down to the SCIF, and we got a classified briefing from some of the people on the panel, and it was one of the most. I'm a former Navy SEAL, so I've traveled around the world and hunted bad guys for a long time. But I can tell you this: when I went down to that SCIF, it was one of the most terrifying briefs that I've ever been a part of. Okay, this is how brazen our enemies are becoming because of how foolish, corrupt, incompetent, and I would actually say wicked we have become. And our leadership has failed us at every turn. So this next election is going to be important. Thank you, guys.
Oh, it's not going to get us anywhere. So, Kim Iverson, I will, a shout out to Kim and a shout out to Jimmy Dore. I think that they are putting up videos that are extremely important, doing an awful lot of interviews on all of the agendas. Good job. And here, making it rain and blocking the sun, the dangers of geoengineering. Let's listen to a few minutes.
And the thing is that there's these unintended consequences. And any geoengineer will tell you, if they're an honest one, is that you actually can't predict the outcome. It's so dynamic. You don't really know what the end result is going to be. So while you're over here trying to create more rain, that means you're stealing rain from somewhere else. And there have been nations in the Middle East who have said, hey, we're watching you steal our rain, and it's raining here and you're blocking the rain clouds. And they've gone out and they've tried to sue because of that. So it did start out that way, and it seemed like it could be no problem. But the problem is that back in the early 1900s, they did have massive damage done with floods and so on and broken dams. And what's happening today is that though it is required by federal law to report your weather modification programs, and if you go to NOAA and you look at their weather modification program reporting, there's almost 1,000 different reports on this, right? It's so generalized that it's not being put out into the mainstream. It's not being published in the print saying, hey, from this date to this date, these are the 1,000 square miles that we're going to be modifying the weather. And you need to know if there's any problems, right? If dams break, if there's any flooding, if there's any excess snow, anything like that, let us know. None of that happens. So it's being reported, but it's so generalized that the public has no idea when it's happening.
Well, who is in charge of it? Can an individual farmer on a farm today decide to just start spraying stuff in the air to try to get rain on his farm?
Yeah, 100%.
Really?
Just has to let you know. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And what they do is they say, okay, this is what we're spraying: silver iodide, proprietary compounds. You don't even have to say what you're spraying. This, I'm like, I could go out there and spray silver iodide, but also just throw in a few little mRNA, vaccines too. And nobody asks. So it's not like it's being vetted and approved. It's just like, tell us what you're doing and you get a stamp of approval. So
sure,
that's one reason why we're going after Make Sunsets, which is a startup company that got banned in Mexico last year for in the Baja California area, putting up weather balloons and also just trying to weather modify their area. And so they actually banned geoengineering, experimental geoengineering, which is kind of ironic because all geoengineering is experimental. They never really know the outcome. So now Make Sunsets is working out of Reno, and they're doing the same thing where they've gone through NOAA saying, we actually want to basically do this around the whole entire world for the next 200 years. It's actually in their one-page little tiny contract. It's not contract, but their application, or I would say form, really, report. And the hubris around this, just complete hubris. And they're doing it for solar dimming, essentially, which again is under the whole climate change realm.
Solar dimming?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go back to before we go to that, because that's let's stay with the rain for just a second here. So are there commercial companies selling products to farmers saying, spray this in the air and you might get rain on your farm?
No, not so much. They're paying farmers and aviation companies quite handsomely, actually, to go out there and spray on certain days. They look at the right atmospheric conditions when the storms are coming in. You can't do this unless there's a storm coming in. You can't just do it with a clear sky and without clouds and so on. And
who's paying them?
A lot of times it's actually the irrigation districts. It's the power companies like Pacific Gas and Electric and so on. It could be actually a research organization. It could be a university. It could be a corporation. And they pay them handsomely to go do this. And so there's actually, believe it or not, if you're having a wedding, outdoor wedding, and you want to make sure that you don't have rain that day, you can actually go out there and pay companies to spray and to ensure there's no rain for your outdoor wedding. It's about $100,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. You'd have to be a rich person, very, very wealthy, right? But the privilege of the wealthy, I suppose, they now get to manipulate the weather.
That's
so,
right.
So they've been wanting to try to manipulate weather for 100 years, longer, couple hundred years, right? Or how long is that? Over 150 or something. They've been attempting to do this. They figured out, okay, fires is one way. Now they've moved on to chemicals, maybe a mixture of both, right? They're kind of doing whatever they can. So that's on the farming level. I understand that. How prevalent? I understand why a farmer would think this is a good idea. Why even communities and cities would think it's a good idea.
It's the power companies. It's Pacific Gas and Electric.
Why would the power companies think it's a good idea?
Hydroelectricity. So it's this is Pacific Gas and Electric. This is Southern Edison, right, in Southern California. These are power companies. They're doing that. They're doing it more than anything. And now our government is really pushing for more weather modification, and they're really pushing for the solar dimming. They want to explode it. I mean, like just exponentially increase it. Yeah.
So tell us now about solar dimming.
Okay, I think you all know about solar dimming, but I will put the link in, did I not? And I just wish that these people who are talking about weather modification would talk about the electromagnetic frequencies that are in use and nanotechnology. Where are they? Where are they? I want them to start speaking up about it. Okay, so here's Whitney Webb talking about the climate scam Wall Street is pulling on Latin America. Just a few minutes, but I'll put the link in the chat. You can listen to the full half-hour interview. Oh, climate. CO2 isn't even a pollutant. It's not even a pollutant. It's good. It's good. CO2, we need more of it. Plants love it. Crops love it. Life loves it. We'd feel a whole lot better if they weren't reducing it. All right. It's not a pollutant.
Names.
He had a big crush on Winnie. That was his crush. But anyway, you wrote this article. I want to get to it real fast over at Unlimited Hangout. It says, debt from above, the carbon credit coup, and sweeping across the shores of Latin America, that's my favorite part of America, Latin America, comes a scheme. Nobody speaks Latin, though. Comes from a scheme from some of the most predatory figures in the venture capital ecosystem of the United States. It's a brazen attempt to assert foreign influence across Latin America and threatens to reshape the very fabric of the region and the day-to-day lives of its people. I remember when, who was George Herbert Walker Bush's vice president? Dan Quayle said he was glad he paid attention in Latin class so he could speak to the people in Latin America. And and then when he went to the Arctic, he was hoping he could speak articulately. Anyway, that's a Rich Seisler joke. At its core is a serpentine set of contractual obligations held at the municipal level, cast throughout Central and South America, upheld by an intelligence league satellite company, and controlled by a private sector consortium of greenwashed financiers aiming to turn the region's forests into equity and carbon credits. What the F?
It's a very
what is going on in Latin America? And this is another under the umbrella of climate change, fighting climate change. Is that what this is?
Yeah, so that's part of it. It's really a very complex effort that brings together a bunch of different players under the umbrella. It's this umbrella program that they refer to as Green Plus. It's nominally about imposing carbon markets under the guise of decarbonizing at the municipal or rather local level throughout Latin America. So instead of negotiating with national governments, they're going directly to municipalities, which in Latin America, it's very, very easy to influence them relative to even like national level politicians. So essentially what's happening is that the goal of this is to have all of these localities in Latin America essentially monetize their protected areas by turning it into carbon credits that will be managed by this group of organizations and companies, not the municipalities themselves, and they'll be allowed to receive some money that these carbon credits generate. But they're not the ones actually managing it, the local governments that are signing on and lending their protected areas to the production of these carbon credits. And basically part of the plan here is to have all of these protected areas, or essentially, really these entire municipalities, if you look at what some of the people in the press releases say, by the satellite firm, which is chaired by Steve Mnuchin, Trump's Treasury Secretary, who's now deeply involved in Israeli intelligence front companies like Cybereason, Trump's Joint Chief of Staff, Joe Dunford, also on the board. Argentina's richest man, Marcos Galperin, who runs Mercado Libre, which is deeply, deeply tied up with PayPal and the so-called PayPal mafia, which includes people like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk and all of these guys, which are also making big plays in Argentina right now under Javier Milei. And
I saw, by the way,
satellite company. Oh, sorry.
I did see Elon Musk tweet out that the place to invest is Argentina. Right now, he's all into. So he's in bed with Milei, the new president there, right?
They're quite cozy. Yes. Well, part of that is because Elon Musk is very desperate for lithium for Tesla-related reasons, and Argentina sits on the lithium triangle with Bolivia and Chile. And so Milei has essentially given a large amount of lithium already to Israel or an Israeli company, and presumably Musk is seeking some of that lithium as well. And he's also attempted to do that in Chile.
Oh, okay.
Interesting interview. I'll put the link in again. I got it up to 6 minutes, and it's a 30-minute interview. And yeah, scamming. That's what we are so good at. Families recount moments before deadly tornado struck. These tornadoes, man, not good. People are really, really suffering. The loss of everything. Some, the loss of loved ones, the loss of their pets. This is just, I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
Mom, our house is gone! No, Mom, our house is gone! The bone-chilling moment Mike Moon and his family looked up from their basement and knew they had just lost everything.
They were telling us, take cover, because it was more serious than anything we'd ever seen. And the sky turned black. We were looking out the back door, and my wife stuck her head out, and she heard it.
And in that moment, Mike says they knew what was coming.
I told everybody to grab their shoes and get down in the basement. We covered ourselves up with pillows and some mats. Your adrenaline's flowing and kids are screaming, and all you can do is, try to protect your family.
And things only got worse.
Drywall was falling on us. Everybody was screaming, and I saw that one of the boards off the side of the house flew off and daylight came in, and I knew the house was gone.
Our house.
15 of us in the basement, and nobody had a scratch on them. Yeah, the Lord kept us safe and saved our lives.
We were praying, and we're all alive, but the house we've been working on for over a year is completely leveled.
And just next door, this is what's left of Ryan Witten's house. A torn-off roof, ripped-out walls, and a home a fraction of what it used to be.
We were at a zoning meeting. This was what we walked into. It broke the seal on the house, and then it just, like that. And so all of the windows on this end sucked in, all the windows on the side sucked in, and then the roof was gone.
Scattering everything they owned and throwing one of their 4 dogs into a field.
Whoever turned our dog Dash in from the bottom of our hearts, thank you.
Piles and piles of irreplaceable mementos damaged.
Could you recall what you have in your house or what's sitting on your coffee table if you went home and it wasn't there? None of us could.
But in all of the loss and devastation, both families say what matters is that God saved their lives.
It was heartbreaking, and it's surreal. You can't even, you never think that's going to happen to you.
Wow. All right, I'm going to say it again. You guys, imagine yourself in that situation, or your home is completely flooded out. Don't think, well, I don't live in a flood zone. A whole lot of people are being flooded, and they don't live in flood zones. Well, tornadoes have never happened here. Oh, well, guess what? They're happening everywhere. Man is controlling weather. Man can bring those tornadoes to places where, in fact, that little town in Michigan never had a tornado there. How about places like Maine or Connecticut? Yeah, okay. So they're bringing them anywhere they want. Mobile home owners struggle with lot fees. All right, mobile home owners, they're getting rid of, the investment firms are buying them up. The lot fees are skyrocketing. A whole lot of people who live in mobile homes either don't have the income to pay the skyrocketing land fees, and you have an awful lot of elderly who are on limited incomes, and it's going on all over.
There's one type of homeowner that is really feeling the squeeze right now.
Manufactured homeowners reached out to us over a dramatic rise in the monthly cost of the lot lease prices. And 10 Tampa Bay's Chris Hurst heard their concerns and found out why they can't sell even if they want to.
The increase in lease rates by park owners hits the owners of mobile and manufactured homes especially hard because most people are paying a mortgage on the home on top of the monthly lease they pay to the park for the land beneath it. A home is supposed to be an asset, but for these homeowners, it's quickly becoming a burden.
So the greed is just insane.
Sonia Haas and her husband live at Amber Glades in Safety Harbor.
They have no concern for the people that live in their parks.
But she doesn't know if they'll be able to keep affording the land beneath their home.
Now people have to decide, well, do I take that off of my food? Or do I take that off of my prescriptions?
This year, park owners proposed a $100 increase to her nearly $900 a month lot lease. Park owners can raise rates if they match the consumer price index. Inflation has given license to raise lease prices as much as the market will bear.
We're finding people are spending, $1,500 sometimes.
Legislation passed this year will help owners fight back against high markups by making the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation offer lists of mediators who negotiate disputes, but are hard to find.
We can.
An awful lot of people say, well, government shouldn't intrude. Government intrudes wherever the hell government wants to intrude. But for some reason, they don't seem to be intruding in areas that will actually help Americans. South Florida condo living. These HOAs. I know that I've spent an awful lot of time on this, but it is happening on a scale now where people can't afford what is going on. And if anybody thinks that this is, well, there's something wrong with the person who can't afford it, this is the plan. Literally to destroy Americans. And I just don't understand why it's so hard to comprehend. But apparently, I guess it is.
Because after 4 years here, my HOA fees have almost doubled.
In 2000, Jim's HOA fee was about $345 a month, and now it's nearly doubled. He's paying over $600 a month. And Jim's not alone. We're getting a lot of calls right now from people who are at a point where they can barely afford to pay these high HOA fees, and they have no choice but to sell.
I'll miss Boca, one of the sweetest spots in Florida, a lot of activity, a lot of action.
There are three key drivers skyrocketing HOA fees. The biggest driver is insurance. Homeowners insurance across Florida increased a daunting 40% in 2023. Most people blame rising insurance costs on hurricane claims. Between 2017 and 2021, Florida insurers paid out a staggering $51 billion. And you would think that most of that money went to hurricane victims. But 71% of the $51 billion went towards attorney fees and public adjusters, while only 8% was allocated to claimants. That's insane. The large...
Did you hear that? 8% allocated to claimants, and the bulk of the money going to the attorneys and adjusters or whomever. Oh my God. That's not right. Right? Highview apartment tenants' electric bills are skyrocketing and nobody is telling them why.
In search of answers. I'm Adam Schindler, your neighborhood reporter for Killeen. People living here at the Highview Apartments on Wolf Street want to know why their electric bills have gone up, with some people telling me by hundreds. I'm here trying to get them answers, but I'm running into a brick wall. Highview Apartments is owned by Killeen Housing Alliance and managed by a company named Tidewater. The people living in the apartments are using housing vouchers, and most of them have small fixed incomes. Now their electric bills are going through the roof.
How high are bills getting for some people?
Well, some people has a bill of over $300, and hers is $400, and these are one-bedroom apartments.
According to electricityplans.com, the average bill for a one-bedroom apartment is $73. I met with dozens of tenants who tell me they have tried to get answers on why their electric bills are skyrocketing, but they aren't getting anywhere.
It's basically like a circular firing squad. You know, everybody points a finger at somebody else. So you can't get a straight answer on anything.
Encore tells me the property is private and it is not responsible for reading the meters. Killeen Housing Alliance tells me they pass that responsibility to Tidewater, so I went to their office on the property. The door was locked, so I called the number on the window.
Highview Place, answering service.
Hi, my name's Adam Schindler. I'm a reporter with Channel 25. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. This is the answering service. They're not in the office right now.
Okay, do you know when they will be?
You can check back in an hour.
I did, and after repeated attempts over multiple days, I have not been able to get a response from representatives managing Highview for Tidewater.
We need some answers.
Okay.
This is what we need.
People living here tell me that the bill isn't the only issue they're having with their utilities. Late Saturday night, they lost power. The crew working on the lines tell me that they didn't receive a call to repair them until Monday morning. In Killeen, I'm your neighborhood reporter, Adam Schindler.
Oh, this is going to get so out of hand. It is not going to be funny. Killeen, Texas. Okay, so, all right. I didn't listen to this. I only listened to a few minutes. And the link is in the chat if you want to listen to Ron's video on cash. What's going on here? So they're banning cash withdrawals and deposits in less than 2 weeks. All right, let's listen up.
Guys, those unelected official leaders, they're moving forward with their plan here, guys. Hope you guys are doing okay. Hope you're able to see and hear me okay. So it looks like the World Economic Forum's agenda to ban physical cash is now underway. And for some banks, it's coming pretty soon, as they're looking to remove this option within the next 2 weeks. In fact, I think we have a date of May the 20th. So mark your calendars, guys. Make sure you let your friends know about what they're doing here. I don't know if this is a good thing. You let me know if you think going 100% cashless is a good idea, getting rid of cash, right? I thought cash was king. It's a little bit alarming. It's a little bit concerning. Anyway, the WEF has been pushing this idea for years now, with write-ups that discuss the advantages of a cashless society. And of course, the problem with that is they don't really talk about the disadvantages of this kind of change. And one of these points is surveillance. Now, giving these institutions access to what we do and where we go, I don't know if that's a good idea going forward. Y'all let me know what you think. And this is not about us trying to hide anything. What it is about, though, it's about our privacy. Now, you guys let me know if you're comfortable going cashless, from here on out. Yeah. By the way, if you guys could just take a second, hit the like button for the video. I totally appreciate you guys. I'm like, where's the camera? So anyway, now it's not starting right here in the United States. Although we do know that the Federal Reserve, they wanted to implement it. And, we've heard them talk about the central bank digital currencies, the CBDCs. They have openly admitted that they want to do this. And I remember them saying at one point that they were going to do something really big on a Friday. Do you guys remember that? So anyway.
All right, so you're going to have to, Australia, they've already yanked out a lot of ATMs. Australia seems to be on the forefront of going cashless. But it's all coming here, and it's coming fast. The Federal Reserve has the Fed coin. The IMF has their own digital coin. Other central banks have their digital coin. It's coming at us, and it's not going to be pretty, okay? It's not a good world at all that has manifested. Not at all. All right, the next two I'm going to leave for tomorrow. So, let us go to a special report. Greedy Chicago teachers union demands are absurd. Any teacher union demanding more money, considering their performance, considering what's happening in schools, is not only absurd, it's mental. And any city that carves out more money for these teacher unions, well, there's something going on, and it ain't good.
Chicago public school teachers are seeking $50 billion in raises and benefits from taxpayers. This is despite student performances that critics consider underwhelming, to say the least. Correspondent Garrett Tenney is in Chicago with that story tonight.
Now that the Chicago's Teachers Union has one of its own as mayor, members are making their most ambitious demands ever for their next contract with the city.
Today is our first step in showing our work to the city of Chicago about why the Chicago Public Schools is the place that deserves our investment.
A leaked...
Did she say this is the first step in showing our work? You know how bad Chicago schools are? Well, schools all over the country. All of them. I mean, these kids they're failing proficiency. Math, reading, English. It's very sad. So to have these people come up and demand $50 billion more from taxpayers, oh boy, they need to be put in their place.
Copy of the union's 142-page proposal for its new collective bargaining agreement includes more than 700 demands, covering a whole range of areas outside the classroom. A few examples include 9% annual wage increases through 2028, abortions covered at 100%, paying migrant families $2,000 per child.
Excuse me? What? Wait, teacher union? It's a teachers union? Demanding abortion 100%? Migrant families? What? This country is such a flippin' mess.
To help them resettle, and ensuring that teachers are not required to disclose a student's gender identity to their parents. The conservative Illinois Policy Institute estimates the price tag for the union's demands adds up to more than $50 billion.
This goes beyond what a union is supposed to be about. CTU is making itself a political party, a political machine, and it is to the detriment of the students and the parents in the district.
Chicago Public Schools' budget has grown by 24% over the past 5 years to more than $9 billion, with some of the highest per-student spending in the country. But student scores haven't seen much change. And last year, just a quarter of Chicago students were able to read at grade level, and fewer than 1 in 5 were proficient in math.
And they ain't doing so well in science, but give them more money and meet their demands. $2,000 per migrant family to help them settle? No, it's not what teacher unions are all about. Okay? It's not. Abortion. And we don't have to tell the parents that their child is going by a different gender in school. Holy shit. You could only do this to a very demoralized people. And we are. Do we need to do work on ourselves to get us out of that pit? Absolutely. The hell that we are living, we don't see Americans responding appropriately at all. A whole lot of the awake crowd not responding appropriately. It's just, it is truly a nightmare that is unfolding every single day, getting darker and darker. Hundreds losing jobs after mass layoffs at a Houston school district. And I've said in other live screams, there are so many schools laying off workers, teachers, and employees. What is going on? Something is going on. I think these school districts know that we're going to be going remote next year, the next school calendar year. I think something's happening, and they know remote, you get to learn on a screen, not in a classroom. Something's happening.
And with no real specifics about these job cuts, but do say they'll have more to share in the coming weeks. If you'd like to read that statement, it's up online at khou.com.
More about mass layoffs at HISD. Hundreds of employees left scrambling to figure out what's next after learning they're losing their jobs in just a few weeks.
Yeah, those layoffs include teachers, custodians, maintenance workers. Marcelino Benito at HISD tonight with more on the impact this could have on the state's largest school district. Marcelino.
Len, the union that represents a lot of these workers told me today that HISD really hit rock bottom. They say these schools are already in bad shape, and now it's only going to get much worse. Outside HISD headquarters, a constant stream of workers learning devastating news just in time for Mother's Day weekend.
And you're bringing them in like a herd of cattle and eliminating their positions without giving them a full detail.
Hector Morales is president of Texas Support Personnel Employees Local 1, the union representing many maintenance workers and custodians. He says the district dropped this bomb on them just yesterday.
Y ahora lo sacan como zapato viejo para afuera.
Annabelle says she's been with HISD for 10 years and is now being thrown out like an old pair of shoes. Maria Franco had been cleaning HISD schools for 23 years.
No me esperaron ni que me retire.
They didn't even let me retire, Maria told us after receiving her termination papers.
They're in pain because they're like, that's the only check they have to support their family. So how are they going to support it? And to pay their rent, to feed their kids. I mean, without a job, they don't have nothing.
HISD not confirming how many people are impacted, but the union tells us it could reach up to 1,000 or more.
Nos quieren mucho.
That includes custodians, maintenance workers, mechanics, and even teachers.
Callous would be the best word. And I wasn't the only teacher.
Jose Cantu had taught ESL at HISD for 5 years until today.
They just cut me. They didn't give me a word.
Union leaders tell us employees aren't getting any explanation or answers.
People are stunned. They're really stunned, and they ain't understanding why.
The union blames HISD mismanagement for today's mass layoffs, and they're warning it will impact every school in the district.
That's the million-dollar question. We've asked what's their backup plan, and they're not able to answer that question today. I mean, is management or the superintendent or any one of them going to come out and help clean up? I don't think so.
HISD did send us a statement with no real specifics about these job cuts, but do say they'll have more to share in the coming weeks. If you
What are all of those people going to do? There are no jobs. The ripple effect of all of these people unemployed, not being able to pay their bills, not being able to pay rent? Do you understand what the ripple effect? We're all going to feel it. So apparently, AI voice clones. Why your voice is no longer safe on social media, as AI clones mimic speech to deceive family and break into bank accounts. Cyber thieves are increasingly scouring for clips of people's voices on social media to mimic them in potentially devastating scams. This isn't good. The more data, the easier it is. So obviously having your voice out there is an inherent risk. It is. And a whole lot of people are already being scammed by AI. I have no money. I have no family. So I don't have to worry. But I think a lot of those on social media, whatever platform you're on, they have your voice, they have your face, they can. And what's happening is, parents of children have gotten calls saying that their child is either arrested and they need bail money really fast. When you get these phone calls, if you do, you really need to check them out. Don't hand over any information. But also, they have, and I believe I've included this in the live stream, parents getting calls from people who claim to have kidnapped their child, and they're mimicking with AI the child's voice. That is terrifying. So just know that this is going on. And, yeah, Americans. Visualizing how Americans feel about various federal agencies. How they could feel good at all about any of these agencies, that to me is just incomprehensible. So they feel okay about the National Park Service, the U.S. Postal Service, NASA? Oh boy, that's scary. Social Security Administration, 28% unfavorable. So the blue is favorable, the red is unfavorable, and I can't believe only 28% feel okay. Don't feel good about the Social Security Administration. CDC, 38% unfavorable. Veterans Affairs, 28% unfavorable. This has to be wrong. EPA, 31% unfavorable. Health and Human Services, 30% unfavorable. FBI, 36%. Department of Transportation, 36%. Department of Homeland Security, 35%. Department of Justice, 41%. CIA, 33%. That's interesting. CIA gets 33, that magic number. Department of Education, 47%. I'm just reading the unfavorables. IRS, 51%. 42% of Americans feel okay about the IRS. Something's very wrong there. I can't believe it. And only 47% for the Department of Education. 45% feel okay. They're favorable. Wow. Well, if these are true numbers, Americans are just so fucking lost in all of the propaganda that they're getting that it is scary. So tax burden by state, let me just tell you, New York has the highest overall tax burden. Alaska has the lowest. Maine has the highest property tax burden. Alabama has the lowest. California has the highest individual income tax burden. 7 states, including Texas, Florida, and Washington, have the lowest. Washington has the highest sales and excise taxes. New Hampshire has the lowest. Red states have a lower tax burden than blue states on average. What a surprise. Okie dokie. So, yeah. Are prices high?
High food prices unbelievable.
Since no one wants to talk about it, I'm gonna be the one to talk about it. Because something needs to be done at this point. Since when do you go to a supermarket and an 18-count of eggs is $8.99? So you mean to tell me that I gotta give you almost $10 for 18 eggs? And that's not all. Look at the butter. The butter's almost $13. Ain't no one doing anything about it. I think it's time that we somehow gather together and do something about it. Let's see how much I spent. Okay, I bought 4 items. Just 4 items. $30. I spent $30 on 4 items. And $30, which leaves me $30 until I get paid next week. And these prices, no one's doing anything to bring down inflation.
Bidenomics is working.
We all know who is to blame for this high.
Both parties are to blame. McDonald's admits consumers are broke with planned introduction of the $5 meal deal. Wow. Okay, so that's good, right? You can eat really toxic substances because they're not really food. It's not food. And harm your health with McDonald's, but it'll only cost $5. New Year, look, this is amazing that this governor actually could say what she said, which I played last night. Terrence Williams pretending he was a monkey because of Kathy Hochul saying that the black children in the Bronx don't know what a computer is. This needs to be played again. I'm sorry. Just that itself should have New Yorkers demanding she step down. But no one does anything. And you let the worst of the worst, the lowest of the low, be your leader.
Governor of New York. This is the governor of New York. The governor of New York who fired 70,000 healthcare workers in the middle of what they claim was a deadly pandemic. Here's what she has to say about black kids.
Young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word a computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. They don't know. And I want the world open up to all of them because
they don't know what the word computer is. Black kids. So I guess her message is vote blue but not black. They don't know what the word computer is. Lawrence Welk was more in touch with young people. This is everyone's embarrassing drunk aunt at Thanksgiving. That's what this is. Black kids don't even know what computers are. Do you think a cell phone is 2 tin cups and a string? Because a cell phone is a computer. That's what a cell phone is. It's unbelievable. Here, she has a little more to say.
when you have their diverse voices innovating solutions through technology, then you're really addressing society's broader challenges.
Look, let's listen to it again. It's really wonderful. It's the governor.
Young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is.
They don't even know what the word is. They don't even know what the word is. Computer? What is that? I'm a young black kid. I don't know what that means. If there was ever a perfect example of today's excuse for a Democrat, it's Governor Hochul trying to make insulting condescension sound like a compassionate plea to get kids commonly available technology. Even the way she uses underprivileged. It puts a spotlight on her blasé, detached privilege, I guess. Steph, did you hear this?
Young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word a computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. And I want the world open up to all of them.
They don't know. What? Do you think they're still listening to phonographs? do you think they still call TV the boob tube?
Do they even know what a TV is?
Well, here's... Meanwhile, every single New York City public school kid received a laptop to take home during the pandemic. Something she should know. But she's just taking her cue from Joe Biden. Remember when Joe Biden said this?
My God. What the hell is wrong with us? That we allow these people to continue to destroy us and don't have a response about it. That's what is amazing. As far as I'm concerned, that alone should get her yanked out of office. Wow, man. Oh my God. Look, you can listen to the full Jimmy Dore show on this, but it's sickening. It is just, and I see that Jimmy Dore is kind of struggling because he doesn't even know what to say, and I don't know what to say anymore. I don't know what to say. Well, the people need to come together to get rid of them. Not one person can do anything, but we're not together. And we've got a lot of apathetic Americans who don't give a shit about anything. We've got an awful lot who still, my willful ignorance, I will protect it with the greatest hostility coming at you. We're fucked, all right? Something is grossly wrong with a whole lot of Americans. Listen to this. Yeah, so I put in liars self-expose.
People who are injecting drugs for animals and horse.
And people telling them to. Oh my God. What person? You know, you talk about cancel culture and who to shame. Ivermectin, a dewormer, really?
They are shaming themselves. No one has to shame them. They're shaming themselves.
No, they need to be shamed.
Yeah.
They need to be called out and shamed, brother. I am taking a, what do they call it? Like a regular dose, whatever. They're trying to build up of ivermectin. Ivermectin was a boogeyman early on in COVID.
You couldn't talk about it.
That was wrong. We were given bad information about ivermectin.
And guess what? You're supposed to be investigating. That's your job, to investigate, not just to get that information from government and then spew out that propaganda. Your job is to investigate. And you could have found out about ivermectin 3-4 years ago. You could have found out, but you didn't, because you're a propagandist. Oh, the lies. Oh, the lies. Oh, watch this. Compilation of the insane amount of rewriting. Yes, here we go. 2024. Whole lot are saying things that are so not true. Gaslighting, lying, scapegoating. It's the American way.
Now then, COVID is back in the news.
Are you hearing people are quite nervous about getting the vaccine? One of the professors who worked in the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine is a paediatrician who is one of the most intelligent, sensible and honest people I know. And I spoke to him. I was lucky enough to speak to him because I worked in a documentary that looked at the Oxford vaccine. And you know what? There is no conspiracy. There is no fake news.
The AstraZeneca COVID vaccine is being withdrawn worldwide after the pharmaceutical giant admitted it causes a rare and dangerous side effect.
Government had no capacity to enforce any of this. You must wear a mask. And people wore masks in New York. But if they said, I'm not wearing a mask, There was nothing I could do about it.
Masks have been mandatory since April, and a fine for not wearing one took effect this week.
It was really all voluntary. Wear a mask. It is the law, and the law is the law.
People who have got conspiracy, maybe anti-vax views, who believe now that they were deliberately misled over these vaccines. They've been developed quickly because we've sped up the process to make it more efficient. We've still had all the safety checks in place. That has not been compromised.
AstraZeneca admits its COVID vaccine can cause rare blood clots.
Based on all the information we had, there was not enough to say that it was down to the vaccine.
Dr. Marco Cavallari, head of anti-infectives and vaccines for the EMA, told the Italian newspaper Il Messaggero, quote, "It is becoming more and more difficult to affirm that there isn't a cause and effect relationship between AstraZeneca vaccines and the very rare cases of blood clots associated with a low level of platelets."
You know, you talk about cancel culture and who to shame. Ivermectin, a dewormer, really?
They are shaming themselves. No one has to shame them. They're shaming themselves.
No, they need to be shamed.
Yeah.
They need to be called out and shamed, brother. I am taking a regular dose of ivermectin. Ivermectin was a boogeyman early on in COVID.
You couldn't talk about it.
That was wrong. We were given bad information about ivermectin. You're going to question the vaccine, but you want to take a horse dewormer.
Those clots happen for lots of other reasons, and they weren't happening at a higher rate than we would expect at that time.
Germany, France, Spain and Italy are all taking the precautionary measure of suspending use of the vaccine because of fears about possible side effects, including blood clots. The AstraZeneca vaccine has already been suspended in the Netherlands, Ireland, Iceland, Bulgaria, Denmark and Norway.
And it was extraordinary when you think about it, that society acted with that uniformity voluntarily. Wear a mask. It is the state law. It's not an option.
Do these people need to be called out? Absolutely. But they don't, and they get away with it. It was mandated. This guy saying when he was governor of New York, it's the law, wear it. And now he claims, oh, it's extraordinary to see all of these people wear masks voluntarily. Holy shit. See, man, yeah, I don't know how to trigger, a release of appropriate response from Americans. I just don't. But these people, oh my God. Oh boy, do they need to be held accountable for their fucking lies. FDA preparing for possible bird flu spread among humans. And I am seeing more and more mainstream media coming out. Oh my God. They're preparing for bird flu to jump from birds to humans and human transmission to other humans. And then we have a pandemic. It's coming, whether it's bird flu or something. I'm going to play this Tina Forte. I have to say, I'd love her to win against AOC. Don't think she will. I've been a voice in New York for those who could not speak out. I'm taking on AOC right where I was born and raised in the Bronx. I'll never be silenced. I'll call out hypocritical politicians. And yeah, I don't agree with everything. I wish you were a little bit more awake, but I like her.
I'm Tina Forte. I'm a wife, mother, grandmother, and small business owner. I'm running for Congress to challenge the establishment and fight for you. We have all witnessed the liberal elites and their hypocrisy.
We're going to Met Gala.
They locked us in our homes, gave us curfews.
And Mayor de Blasio tweeting that what happened here was unacceptable, this will not be tolerated, and that he has instructed the NYPD to proceed immediately to summons or even arrest those who gather in large groups.
Well, they roam free and went on vacations.
Nancy Pelosi is under fire today after surveillance video shows her at a hair salon.
They ordered us to go without haircuts as they went to salons. They demanded we avoid crowds, wear masks while they partied in crowds maskless.
Squad member Jamal Bowman and New York City Mayor Eric Adams
both caught maskless after telling everybody to follow the rules and doubling down on mask mandates for schools.
They even force our children to wear masks in school all day.
Stacey Abrams causing a huge uproar over this photo in a room full of young masked children.
While they posed and grinned right next to them because the rules don't apply to them.
What we're doing to kids is unnecessary and horrible.
They mandated vaccines, telling us to trust the science, but ignored and lied about science of natural immunity.
It violates bodily autonomy when we allow corporations or governments to tell us what is best for our health. That is a scary place to be.
They scolded us not to celebrate Christmas or Thanksgiving with our families, or while they made trips to see their own families. They closed small businesses, but allowed major corporations to stay open. They told us who was essential and who was not. They ruined our economy, crushed the American dream for so many, and took our freedoms.
Yes, it involves tough restrictions.
But they didn't care because the rules never applied to them. I've been a voice in New York for those who could not speak out. I've taken on de Blasio, Cuomo, and Hochul. Now I'm taking on AOC, right where I was born and raised, in the Bronx. I'll never be silenced. I'll call out these hypocritical politicians, and I'll never stop fighting for freedom. Join me in this fight at Tina40forcongress.com. I'm Tina 40.
I was born in the Bronx. I was raised in Queens. I lived in New York. I'm a New Yorker, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I love just her accent and yeah. Don't trust her. Okay, you don't have to. Hell, why trust anyone? So, rising healthcare costs for elderly prompt concern. Yeah.
What's one of the biggest expenses you face as you age? It's healthcare. A new national poll from University of Michigan finds the cost of healthcare is at the top of the list when it comes to concerns among older adults. The poll found that 56% of people over 50 say they are very concerned about the cost of medical care. And nearly as many said the same about the cost of prescription drugs, the cost of health insurance, and dental care. The director of the university's Institute for Healthcare Policy and Innovation says older adults who struggle with healthcare costs can make decisions that might save money in the short run, but negatively impact their health.
What we find is people are making trade-offs between the costs of their medicines or their medical appointments and their food or housing or transportation. We also find that sometimes people cut back on the services that they need in their health care. They may take their medicines less frequently, not fill their prescriptions for high blood pressure or diabetes. They may hold back on seeing the doctor when they have a new symptom that's concerning, and their doctor either might be able to help them identify the problem or reassure them that it's not serious.
It's getting really bad. So people are saying that she threw the devil horns. She's throwing devil horns?
I'm a wife, mother, grandmother, and small business owner. I'm running for Congress to challenge the establishment and fight for you. We have all witnessed...
Oh, because she did this? You know, there are hand signals that people use. But there's an awful lot who talk with their hands and do things. Like when I sit like this and I'm like, oh my God. To claim that somebody is something because they're doing something with their hands and that's it, it's a definitive conclusion, is not really using discernment. I think you need an awful lot more. Now, I'm not pushing her. I just like her. I've always, liked her. But Tina Forte, even if she got somewhere and won over AOC, who is promoted by a whole lot of powerful elites, she's not going to get anywhere. But even if she did, she sure as hell is not going to get anywhere in Congress. So we know that the system we're not getting anywhere. Because we need the people. And the people aren't there. They're just not there. So, and here, I can't believe this. RFK says we should have on-demand abortion. Disgusting, demonic. Yeah.
In other words, keeping it as is with Roe versus Wade having been overturned and leaving it up to the states to determine if and when a woman can have an abortion?
No, I wouldn't leave it to the states.
You wouldn't, right?
No, I would.
You would say completely, it's up to the woman.
My belief is we should leave it to the woman. We shouldn't have government involved.
Even if it's full term?
Even if it's full term.
Okay, and I think...
But
so to leave...
Wow. Full-term abortion. Go for it, women. Go for it. You carried that baby for 9 months. Now you want to get rid of it. Yeah. Fabulous. How disgustingly immoral. Ooh. It really... Wow. This guy... Oof. Open season shots fired at Texas Border Patrol agents from Mexico.
I want to go to Chris Cabrera, National Border Patrol Council Vice President. Chris, you've warned about this. You said it's getting dangerous. Now we have the proof, but we don't have much of a reaction. What do you make of it?
I think it's par for the course. It's unfortunate, but these incidents happen a lot more than actually get reported in the news. We, as a government, tend to do nothing about it, so it just emboldens them to keep taking those steps forward. And eventually, one of us is going to get hurt, which is completely unacceptable.
You know what's scary about all of that, Chris? You know this far better than I. The shots are coming on the Mexican side of the border. Now, whether that's cartels involved, which have gotten pretty bold, or others, it tells you what you're dealing with, doesn't it?
Yeah, it speaks volumes. And, I think everybody, when they're dealing with anything border related, is getting extremely bold, because whether it's them shooting at us, them running from us in a car chase, or them coming in droves, assaulting us, whatever may happen, we lack teeth to do anything about it. So it's becoming an open season on Border Patrol agents, because they know that the federal government's not going to stand up and do the right thing by the border or the Border Patrol agents.
I thought Texas had the National Guard down there. Why isn't the National Guard doing anything about it? And other states sent National Guard, as if the National Guard is still the National Guard. And it ain't. So, having a war with the cartel, that's only going to get worse and worse, because we don't do anything about it. All right, I'm not going to read this except for maybe just a few paragraphs. Racist secession. No. Conservatives escape Democrat-run Baton Rouge, Louisiana, with creation of new city. So this has been going on since 2014. The, I guess, east side of Baton Rouge, they want to create their own city called St. George, and because of the school system, because of all of the Democrat policies that are that create an awful lot of crime, the schools are unsafe. The schools are not teaching their kids. So they actually have been working on this since 2014, and the Supreme Court said that it was okay. Too bad that we need courts to tell us it's okay. A majority in the Louisiana Supreme Court has ruled in favor of the creation of St. George, and the residents there have been given a chance to go their own way. The media is calling it an attempt at secession, and maybe it is, but it's not a bad thing. But of course, the left is claiming that it's white flight, it's this, it's that, and no, it's they're tired of the Democrat policies in particular. And listen to this woman. 64-year-old lifelong Democrat gets red-pilled.
Street Apes tweeted out this 64-year-old woman who helped get Jamal Bowman elected, and then his office calls her for help again. And here's her response. Here we go.
So last night I got a call from my congressman, Jamal Bowman. I live in Westchester. He's very close to where AOC is. I originally helped him get elected. I mean, I didn't do much. I do canvassing. I go around to the houses. I do some phone lists. I've done it my whole life. Like since I'm 14, I've been actively involved in politics. My parents were involved in politics. I had a grandmother that was very involved in Brooklyn politics. It's in our blood. We're one of those families. I've always felt it was my civic duty to help get elected the people that align with your same political beliefs. I feel it's a civic duty, just like jury duty. Went to American University. I did an internship at the Democratic National Committee. I was very actively involved when I was in college. Anyway, so they called to see if I'm going to canvass for them again. And I had just been watching TikToks all day, and I'm like appalled about what's going on. And it just came over me, and I just went, I'm done.
She finally, it's nice to see. She ingested the red pill of American politics, Kurt.
Is that what that is?
I think so. And
so that's Dayquil?
She realizes that the Democrat, Republican sides that we were born believing in are about as real as an argument on the Housewives of Bumfuck.
Some of those arguments get pretty intense. I think those are more rivalry than.
But so this there's more to this, which I'll play. But this is like watching Leah Remini talk about Scientology after she left Scientology.
Yeah, a little bit.
Same accent, same basic story.
Yeah, mom and dad were in it.
Except Scientology, way more believable than the idea that we live in a democracy.
That's true. She did realize Scientology was wrong a lot earlier than this poor woman.
I'm done with politics.
She's done with politics.
It's a farce.
A farce.
My eyes are wide open. It's a scam. These people do not work for us. They work for the special interest groups. They work for the corporations. They definitely don't work for us. When my president, the man that I voted for, can't come out and just be against
killing
burying babies alive.
Can't be against it.
It's a farce. So anyway, so the kid's like, well, can we put you down? And I'm like, no. And he was like, yeah, but Jamal's a good guy. And I'm like, yeah, he's a product of a single mother. He worked in education in the Bronx.
Jamal Bowman worked in education? I hope it wasn't in fire safety. Am I right? Come on.
Jamal Bowman was the guy that pulled the fire alarm during a vote in Congress. I can't remember what the vote was, just to disrupt the vote. He pulled the fire alarm and then lied about it, of course. Liars are not good people. Oh, God. And here, Senator Babbitt, this is a senator in Australia.
I'm going to tell everyone at home that's watching this right now, and I'm sitting in my nation's capital now, and I'm telling you from my experience, the people that you elect to run your country are puppets. They are not the true wielders of power. Donald Trump likes to call this the deep state. And I'm going to tell you now that the deep state is alive and well in Australia, and it is alive and well in the UK. Of course, it's alive and well in the United States. We're all seeing that play out right now. So do everything you can, everyone that's watching this broadcast, everyone that's hearing my voice, you must be more involved in the political process. You must take action. You need to be active, because if you're not active, the people behind the scenes that sit in the shadows, and they are there, that control the levers of power, that control, I believe it's Rishi Sunak who's in charge.
Rishi Sunak, yes. He was put in place, no doubt, by the deep state, because we didn't vote for him to be prime minister.
Well, exactly. The people behind the scenes that pull those strings, they don't have your best interests at heart. And I choose my words very carefully here. They don't have your best interests at heart. These authoritarian tyrants want nothing but to see you be a serf, be a slave, be a peasant while they sit at the top of the pinnacle of power. And they use their agents in the parliament to bring that to pass. So do not be complacent. Get active, join a party, run for parliament.
Well, yeah, people need, well, I don't know about that. I don't think that one person can change anything from the inside. The system needs to be destroyed, and it is getting destroyed. Unfortunately, there's an awful lot of people who are sitting around doing nothing, thinking they're oh so good when they're not. Definition of good is not sitting around doing nothing. People do need to get involved, but not in politics. We need to be getting involved in our communities. We need to be getting involved in our own soul, in our own consciousness, in our own development, becoming mature, becoming people who, you actually know who you are, so that you know that you're speaking honestly, living honestly, and it's not bullshit, that you develop yourself as a trustworthy human being. Essential in this. Essential. That you call out the liars in your life. You don't let people just lie and scapegoat and gaslight and scam other people and be greedy and all of this shit. Getting involved in your community is very important. But holding accountable all of the liars is also very important. Now, do we need a whole lot of people in this fight? Absolutely. Do we have them? No. So we're not going to get anywhere. But we can. You have control over how you operate in your daily life, in your own community, and what you do. Are you helping people? Are you thinking about people when you're shopping, not just yourself? Thinking about maybe picking up some extra food, dropping it off at a local food pantry? Yeah. How about some dog food, cat food? You pick up extra, you drop it off at an animal shelter. You maybe volunteer a couple of hours. You find out who the elderly are in your community. You check up on them. Maybe organize with other people in your community so that you're all kind of doing that work. It's essential. Not a lot of people do it. Not a lot of people do it. So yeah, the Founding Fathers never intended a nation where citizens would pay nearly half of everything they earn to the government. Only schmucks do that. Oh, say, can you see? Alright, so, I'm just going to play a few videos. I'm going to stay away from videos that hurt. That really do hurt. Okay, so how about just some cute stuff, and then we will say goodnight. The boy went to the shelter with the intention of adopting a kitten, but he got a hug from a cat. They're having fun. What is this? The dog ran next to the train after seeing the driver who fed him every day. Wow. I love it. You go. You go, German Shepherd, yeah. No, I'm not a cat lady. I'm a German Shepherd lady. You got it going. And then he does get fed. He works for it. For sure. Oh wow, you adopted a German Shepherd 2 weeks ago. Oh, I'm envious. The cat seems very concerned about the baby.
Kodak, what are you doing? What is going on here?
This is really very cool. Why are we so afraid of so many animals that other people have no problem with?
We were just kids when we fell in love.
Oh, I can't play that song because I'll get a copyright strike. Look at this. It's a bat. Look how incredibly cute they are. It's wonderful. I like that song. I wish I could play it. But I'll get a copyright strike. And then I'll have a partial block where they won't play the live in whatever country. But I had a bat in the cabin in Montana, and I was, I don't really freak out, but I didn't particularly like it. Why was I so scared? Baby elephants. Yes, I always stop for turtles. And move them off the streets. I don't understand why some people think that that's strange. Look at this. We ain't so fabulous in terms of, oh, we're the human being. We're not too far away from right here. Grandma giving granddaughter tickles. Meeting a kitten for the first time. And I'll end with, yeah, I can't see that. My most favorite. Where is it?
Gotta use your legs.
No, it's not that. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Nope. This is it. I love this. I love it. I love it. How dare you cozy up with another cat? Oh my God. I'm out of here. Yeah. Oh shit. Okay, goodbye. Alright guys, so bring your best self. Sometimes it doesn't look like it's the best, sometimes it doesn't even look pretty. But we do our best. And thank you for showing up. I hope to see you tomorrow night. Yeah. We got an awful lot of people who are really hurting. And we do need to help them out. That's our responsibility in trying to maintain humanity at least a decent level. Right? Right? No, never saw cats on Broadway. I'm a four-legged person, but I'm really a German Shepherd gal. And can't seem to ignore the four-legged in need. So a whole lot of people think I'm an old cat lady. You really do need to know people in their life before you make these presumptions. On that note, be safe out there. May you never have to suffer any of the consequences of all of these agendas. And but prepare. Prepare. And on that note, good night and good luck, and ciao guys.